My rent is going up almost $300 a month.
I would have to disagree that $2,100 a month is damn cheap.
Living in America right now feels like a punishment.
$2,000 a month, and my rent is $16.
You're sleep in your car, but it's against the law, so you sleep on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yo, what in the actual fuck is going on out here in Cali, man?
Newsflash, I don't want to live in my car. But this is the only thing that made sense in order to live the American dream. The reason why I am living in my car is because I want to be able to have money for my future, to have an investment. I want to homestead. I want to be able to do things that I wouldn't have been able to do by working a full-time job, actually 2 full-time jobs, in order to pay rent going into the ethers, because inflation is skyrocketing while stagnant wages are there. I also don't want to invalidate people who are actually struggling in homelessness because of mental illness. You're seeing a new wave of homelessness because of the economy. And yes, there are some people that are living in their cars, buses, vans by choice, but mine is for a future. That's why I'm living in my car. And that's why you're going to see more and more in this generation living in their cars.
Just stand behind you and talk about something.
Yeah.
Okay. Here in New York City, one of the most expensive places in America to live, this man right here has made his home on the streets. He said he could no longer afford to pay rent. Here, the average rent is around $4,500 a month, while the minimum wage is $16 an hour. This man says, I no longer can afford to pay rent. He's literally moved all his belongings outside. He's out here sitting on a chair, relaxing. Has a seat, he has his blankets, his cushions from his couch, pallets, and he says he's living a great life now. He says, I have no overhead. I've never felt more free as he's living here on the streets in New York City. It's so expensive to live here. People are literally going homeless on the streets.
You see these people in the video? The ones living in vans, cars, old RVs. They're not drifters. They're not lazy. They're working people, nurses, delivery drivers, teachers, who just couldn't keep up with rent anymore. They sleep in Walmart parking lots, shower at gyms, and eat meals cooked on camp stoves. And this isn't van life like you see on social media. There's no freedom here, no adventure. This is survival. They're hiding from the police, from fines, from being towed, just trying to exist without being punished for being poor. It's heartbreaking, because it shows how far America has fallen from its promise. We used to say, work hard and you'll make it. Now it's work hard and maybe you won't end up sleeping in your car. That's the new definition of success. Van life used to be a choice. Now it's a last resort for thousands of families.
My rent is going up.
And that says everything about where this country is heading.
$300 a month, okay? I'm confused. I'm lost, dumbfounded. Everywhere in my city, everybody going up in apartments, okay? These are just 1 bedrooms. I pay $1,100 a month for 1 bedroom right now. If I resign my lease, it'd be $1,300, okay? Not including maintenance fees, not including all the utilities and all that stuff. But it's all said and done, I'll be spending $1,600, $1,700 to live there, okay? When it's all said and done. My thing is, what do these landlords think we're making out here? Okay? Everybody not making all that kind of money like this. I'm a truck driver. As you can see, I'm in the truck right now. Truck drivers don't get raises, okay? We don't get raises. I barely made enough to make 3 times the rent already. But now it's just going up. I don't know what's going to happen. I make $4 grand a month. I don't know. Well, I make that, but after taxes and all that, you know how that goes. It's about 36, something like that. I won't be able to afford that place anymore where I live at right now. So I got to move. I'm probably considering living in my truck, maybe. Might get a hotel rooms on weekends. If I get a hotels on weekends, I spend $580 a month just for Saturdays and Sundays. That saved me a lot of money, over $1,000 a month, just doing that. Cause I'm gone most of the time anyway. But my big concern is I don't know where these landlords, how they think we out here making all this money to raise the rent down high. We got layoffs going on, and the federal workers are getting laid off, and it just, things gotta change. You know, I refuse to pay that much for one bedroom. So I'm not doing that. I've been looking around my city. A lot of folks moving in the city, so I guess, you know, supply and demand is what raised the prices up. But I've been in my city my whole life, and they trying to push us out. I'd rather be straightforward and say that. We're gonna push everyone that's a native of this city, who's born and raised here. We're gonna push y'all out and want everybody to come in here and say raise prices. I'd rather be straightforward and just say that, okay, than just raising prices and we just all confused, all right? I mean, it's just crazy to me. But I probably might live in my truck, get hotel rooms on the weekends, save a lot of money that way. Cause this year I'm trying to save 20 grand. And a lot of folks can't save $1 because they got all the bills, and like I said, rent prices are going up and food prices going up, clothes, everything's going up in America right now. Okay, there's no relief anywhere. It seems like, and I don't think it'll be a relief anytime soon. So I gotta be prepared, trying to save some money up, because money is king, and I gotta make it happen. What you gotta think about this? This is getting the same.
Yo, what in the actual fuck is going on out here in Cali, man? Last year, my rent was $925. I just opened up this letter, and it says your new rent amount is $2,300 starting on the 1st. No upgrades, no renovations. They didn't even add a fucking washer and a dryer. This is crazy, man. I mean, is everybody else dealing with this? Or am I the only one getting screwed here?
A woman in her 70s is short on housing options, so she's been living in her van, barely getting by.
78-year-old Beverly Jensen says it's hard not to notice this big blue van outside the Longmont Senior Center every time she comes to play cards, but she couldn't believe what was inside. Her is this woman in her mid-70s who didn't want to give out her name, so we are calling her Mary. She's been calling her van home for months.
In here, I keep my food. This is just my bed. It's a real bed that's in the van originally. That's juice. That's tea.
That's where you relieve yourself?
Yeah.
She says sleeping in her makeshift home last night wasn't comfortable.
Last night, I was so cold I was crying.
But that's the least of her daily struggles.
Yesterday was really hard getting food.
And a hot shower is a commodity.
Baby body wipes in the morning and night. That's my bath.
Mary says she tried to get help here at the Longmont Senior Center, but can't seem to find anyone that could help her.
It kind of hurts when I see all these fancy cars come in here in the morning and I'm freezing to death.
Section 2. The housing crisis. Nobody escapes. People think the housing crisis is only in California or New York, but look around. It's everywhere. Phoenix, Denver, Nashville, even small towns that used to be affordable, all collapsing under the same pressure. Houses that used to cost $200,000 just a few years ago now sell for $500,000. And who's buying them? Not families, not first-time buyers. Big corporations, hedge funds, and private equity groups. They buy up entire neighborhoods, sometimes hundreds of homes at once, and flip them into rentals. They turn what used to be a dream, owning a home, into a permanent debt trap. It's not just inflation. It's financial capture. Ordinary people are competing against billion-dollar companies for a place to live, and that's a battle we can't win. We're watching the American dream being auctioned off, house by house. And the worst part? Most of us don't even realize it's already gone.
This is what Trump's homeless plan actually looks like. Utah is building a 1,300-bed camp for homeless people, and advocates are calling it what it actually is, a forced labor camp. It's being built to enforce Trump's new executive order on homelessness, the one that threatens to cut funding from states unless they start criminalizing homeless people sleeping on the streets. The facility will sit on 16 acres of land outside Salt Lake City. State officials are calling it an accountability center. So all the members of the Trump regime are going to be held accountable in there too, or what? Advocates are calling it a prison with a nicer sign. Over 300 of the beds will be for people who will be involuntarily committed, meaning they'll be sent there against their will. Others will be assigned to work-conditioned housing, aka forced labor. Utah officials say it's a transformative way to handle homelessness. But this doesn't sound like help. It sounds like torture and punishment. This forced labor camp is a test run for Trump's national plan to build tent cities on cheap land. And in his words, where homeless people can be rounded up and put to work. The Trump regime is turning poverty into a crime, even though they're the ones responsible for making the poverty happen. So when Trump says he's ending crime and disorder, remember what that really means. He's rounding up poor people that he helped create and throwing them into forced labor camps against their will.
Can I get rest?
I got it, bro. I got it. You want to go outside? Oh yeah, bro. You could probably tell your friend you don't want to come in.
This is Broadway and 23rd Street in LA. Look at the slum, homeless, poor people that the city of Los Angeles don't help. They let them live like this. This is horrible, horrible. This is how we treat American citizens.
This is 23rd Street in Main Street.
America should be ashamed of themselves.
Sandy, we're here in Berkeley, California. You're sleep in your car, but it's against the law, so you sleep on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I sleep on the sidewalk on a sleeping bag, and I'm trying to. I don't use drugs. I don't use alcohol. I don't really do anything wrong. I'm just old, and it's hard to find work at my age. And so, if anybody out there wants to hire me, I am very employable, and anything to get off the streets. It's a miserable existence. I'm not completely crazy yet, but I'm getting there.
Wow.
From sleeping, just having to live this lifestyle. The police gave me a ticket one morning. When I woke up, I had to hide from a crowd that was whatever. I don't know what they were doing, but I basically wanted to get a little bit in a safer situation. I hid kind of inside this church, and they gave me a ticket, and now I can't pay the ticket. It's $400. I can't pay $80. I have no income whatsoever. I don't qualify quite yet for what they call, a crazy check. I don't qualify for anything because I'm not quite old enough for senior services, but not quite, but nobody wants to hire someone my age, so it's kind of a really tough situation. So I'm just, hopefully this will help other people, other women, and other people improve themselves. So.
If you had 3 wishes, what would they be?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't wish right now, it seems kind of like I just wish for hope, for people to have hope. That would be my 3 wishes, because sometimes you don't even have that loud hope. So
I would have to disagree that $2,100 a month is damn cheap. And a lot of people have commented this, but it's just not true. So I'm going to explain why. The national average salary in the United States right now is $59,000, and $59,000 after taxes, your take home every month is about $3,800. So if you are a household or a single person living off of that one salary, that rent right there is more than half of what you're making. And that's just the average. So of course there's going to be people that are well below the average who cannot even afford a $2,100 rent that you guys are saying is cheap. Now, I'm not ungrateful at all. I'm blessed that we are able to afford this $2,100 of rent, which we got at this rate because we moved during COVID, during the height in 2020. We moved there in 2020 during the height of COVID, and they were having a really good deal because they were desperate to get people in. now, unfortunately, that rent is about $3,000. But why are we normalizing? Why are we normalizing $2,100 a month of rent as being cheap when the majority of people in the United States don't even make enough to afford this type of rent? So many people have roommates. So many people who are families and have multiple children are living in an apartment instead of living in a house, which is what we are saving for. We're never going to own this apartment. We're all just throwing our money away, renting instead of buying. We have no buying power right now as millennials and as Gen Zers. Why aren't we able to afford to buy things like the generations before us did? How come we're the ones that are screwed? I was born and raised in California. It's not going to be possible for me to buy a home here because the average price of houses here, and these are old houses, like 1950s houses, is about $700,000. I thought I made decent money. Last year was the most I ever made, right? I thought that we would be able to afford a house. We're not going to be able to afford a house that's almost $1 million. It's just not going to happen. So I understand people saying $2,100 is cheap. It's not cheap. It's cheaper than other places, but we are all of us are being overcharged for rent, and these houses are insanely expensive, and there's like no chance of most people ever even being able to afford to buy a house in their lifetime. That's sad.
You see this? Look at that sign. $2,300 for a one-bedroom apartment. How are people supposed to live like this? That's not luxury housing. That's just a regular old apartment in an average neighborhood. People are working full-time jobs, sometimes two, and they still can't afford rent anymore. And this isn't about not working hard enough. This is about a system that rewards greed. Landlords keep raising prices because they know people have no choice. The wages haven't moved, but rent keeps climbing like it's a race to the sky. What used to cost $900 in 2010 now costs over $2,000 in most major cities. That's more than double. But your paycheck? Still the same. When 70, sometimes even 80% of your paycheck goes straight to rent, what's left? You can't save. You can't breathe. You can't plan your future. This isn't a market correction. It's daylight robbery disguised as economics. Here's the thing. It's not just rent that's rising. It's everything. Groceries, gas, utilities, health insurance, and yet wages haven't kept up for decades. The minimum wage hasn't moved in over 15 years in most states. Meanwhile, corporate profits are at record highs. It's not that there isn't enough money. It's that all the money keeps flowing upward. The average worker's paycheck buys less every year, and every price hike pushes another person closer to homelessness. You can't save for a home, can't afford medical bills, can't even think about retirement, when every month feels like survival mode. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. Because when people are desperate, they'll accept anything. We were told the economy is strong, but tell that to the people sleeping in their cars tonight. If this is strength, what does collapse look like?